I'm feeling hungry. Let's hook up a bunch of wires to that breadboard and get cooking. Breadboard. B-R-E-A-D-B-O-A-R-D. Breadboard. A breadboard is an electrical prototyping device, meaning it lets you build circuits more quickly and easily. So instead of physically soldering or bonding together wires and other metal parts so that you can't detach them, you can instead just plug together wires and other electrical connectors really quickly into this thing called a breadboard, and you've got a working circuit. And so it's like the Legos of the electrical engineering world or the electronics world. You can just snap things together, sort of, and have something that works. Now, what is a breadboard? It looks like this plastic box-like thing. You can imagine a wooden cutting board, like a thick wooden cutting board, maybe, and instead it's made out of plastic. And embedded in that plastic these days, you've got conductors. You've got these strips of metal encased inside that plastic, and above the metal you've got all these holes. Some people call them sockets. And in each of those sockets, you can plug in some exposed wires, and the wires will be grabbed and quickly fixed to that socket, but temporarily fixed. And so you're quickly making all these electrical connections. And whatever, you can just Google it. We've got the internet nowadays, so you don't have to listen to my voice droning on about it. Now, fun fact, or fun factoid, because I don't know if this is actually true, but I read a little while ago, maybe like 3 years ago, because I had to look up where the name breadboard came from, because I was trying to teach some teachers about that. And what I found at the time was, like, no one really knows for sure why a breadboard is called a breadboard. The story, the myth, or urban legend, or whatever you want to call it, that I heard to describe the breadboard's etymology is that in the olden days, what is that, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, you would hold bread on top of a wooden board, like a cutting board. And maybe in the olden days, electronics people quickly prototyped their circuits by hammering metal nails into these wooden breadboards, like a whole bunch of metal nails just firmly stuck in there. And then what they could do is take exposed wires and wrap them around the nails to quickly make different connections. And then when they wanted to take apart the circuit from the breadboard, they would just unwrap the nails. So back then, that was basically their quick prototyping device. And then that evolved into the plastic encased structure that we use today with conductors running inside. So even the breadboard has evolved. Isn't that neat? I feel like having some pumpernickel right now. That is the engineering word of the day. Breadboard. Hi there, this is Pius Wong, producer of this podcast and producer of the K-12 Engineering Education Podcast. If you're into what you've been listening to, and if you're into engineering or education or some combination of the two, go on over to www.k12engineering.net to find out more about what I'm doing. Thanks for listening.